Is there room in the phone and tablet landscape for the PS Vita OS? After a year-long delay, can photographers finally get their hands on the Canon 5D Mark II? And should Ice Cream Sandwich get out of the way of the next OS? Jelly Bean? All that, a special guest, yay or nay, and more on today's Rumor Has It. It's Tuesday, February 21st, 2012, and welcome to Rumor Has It. I'm Karyne Levy.
And I'm Emily Dreyfus, and you are watching the internet's funniest, hopefully, gambling show, where every week we round up the internet's biggest rumors about technology, and then we run them down and we bet on which ones are likely to happen and which ones are not going to happen.
And the most important part is the betting.
Yes. And
not the betting, but the betting.
The betting. This is a gambling show, after all, guys. We like to keep it interesting. So this week we're going to talk about 4 interesting rumors, one of which is going to either come true or fall on its face next week. So one of us will get a point right away. I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited.
And that's good because right now we're at a stalemate.
Yeah, so we keep adding points. So we decided to get really organized, and we put we went back through all of our episodes, put it in a spreadsheet, and it turns out that we both won 2 points. I can't even tell you for what.
It was something about Siri not being allowed on older iPhones and stuff
something
like
about Facebook, that Facebook IPO that happened. We both bet on that.
Yeah.
So we both are winning or losing.
Which
We're
means
both the same.
Yeah, and since we don't have any sort of safeguard in place for when this happens, when there's a tie, what will happen is just there won't be a humiliation day, or we'll have to humiliate ourselves, both of us, I guess.
That's what I think. I
Yeah,
think that we should both
Steven,
be humiliated.
will you be a part of it?
I would love to.
Yes!
Okay, so I think because we have to maintain a level of humiliation at all times, we will, if there's a stalemate, as there is, and as it looks like there will be, then we just all 3 of us will humiliate ourselves. Rather than not have a humiliation day, I think we should have like extra special humiliation
And I think
day.
what we need to think about is something that is humiliating for all 3 of us, because we have different talents and weaknesses, and there are certain things that would be humiliating to you that would not be humiliating to me.
Right.
Like if we did karaoke, you'd have a very unfair advantage because, as we know, you're amazing at it.
Well, and I already did it.
And you already did it. So we need something that is universally humiliating.
I think it should also be public, where we can get the word out on Rumor Has It that it's here on CNET, so people can come watch.
Yes.
Big promotion here. Big
Okay,
promotion.
maybe
go
we
down to, like,
should wear
City Hall.
sandwich boards
Yes,
at City Hall or something.
Totally, and really pimp ourselves.
Yeah,
on our
and
show,
like we'll
'cause
hand
that's our
out those
favorite thing to
leaflets.
do.
We'll be those people on the street handing out the leaflets.
That says Rumor Has It.
That'll be so embarrassing.
And there's like nothing in the pamphlet. It just says rumor, watch it.
Well, maybe we'll be like, we didn't print it on paper because our show is digital. Duh.
So we'll hand out pretend pamphlets. Watch our show. It's on the internet.
We'll work on it.
All right.
Let's get to
So
our
we
first
have
rumor.
so much, as we said in the intro, we have so much happening today that we're just going to get right on it. We're not going to yada yada like
Blammo.
we usually do. All right. So our first rumor is about the new PlayStation Vita and whether the operating system will land on smartphones and tablets. So speaking recently in a question and answer session with reporters, Sony's incoming chief executive Kazuo Hirai, I hope I said that right. Did I say that right?
Kazuo
Kazuo Hirai. You just said that with a Russian accent.
Sorry.
I believe he might be Japanese.
Well, I don't know how to do that one.
Said that the operating system running on the PS Vita was intentionally designed to be expandable and could work on both smartphones and tablets.
That was like a big question. When the PS Vita came out, they're like, why isn't this thing a phone? That's a big question.
And that's the thing. And it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, we know that it's big. I mean, right? It has a 4.3-inch screen or 6, whatever it is. And the Samsung Galaxy Note that just came out is about that size.
5.3 inch.
Yeah. So this is about the same size. So why wouldn't it just be a phone if they're already going to do that?
I actually think it also makes sense because the trend is towards gaming on phones. This is like the last vestige of actual like dedicated handheld gaming. And one way that they could make that technology worth it, because people are not going to buy this in droves, but they could make the money that they spent in advancing this technology worth it by porting it over to smartphones and saying that's what this was really about.
Exactly. And then like what they tried to do with the Xperia Play, which totally fell on its face, which was the PlayStation phone.
Yeah. Well, they could have just called it the PlayStation phone and then people would have liked
and then
it.
people would have known what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Instead, they were just called it something random. And then they were like, oh, yeah, that was the PlayStation phone that
And
we were
people
talking about. And people
Really?
were like,
Because we had no idea.
because we've been talking codename PlayStation phone for 6 years. That's like if they called the iPhone 5 like something completely
Yeah, if
different.
they were like Apple
the
phone.
4S.
Yeah.
Nobody will know
or
what
if they
is.
called it like Siri phone. People would be
Yeah,
like, what's
people would be
that?
like,
I
what?
wanted
I
the iPhone 5.
So the Vita software already includes a host of applications that users can tap to access, including a browser, a camera, location-based social networking programs. It also comes with Facebook, Skype, Twitter, everything that you would have on your phone or tablet now. It's not clear how easy it would be for Sony to port the operating system to smartphones and tablets, but whatever. I mean, why wouldn't they be able to do it? It's like it's hard. I'm torn with this rumor because on the one hand, I feel like, okay, so Sony has been putting Android on all of its products, right?
Yeah.
Everything, all the Sony phones and tablets are running Android. Why would they need to have another OS?
Well,
I guess
maybe they
their
want to
phone-
abandon Android because Android is so fragmented and doesn't update, and they can't depend on it. Maybe they want to just do it themselves.
Right, and if you keep it all in house, then you stop bleeding money because then you just like put all your resources into like internal stuff, and it makes sense. Apple is very successful.
Yeah, but the reason not
Microsoft
to do
is.
that is because then developers are not making apps for it. But if their whole point is that it's gaming and they're making their own apps and they're having it dedicated to gaming developers who are already making gaming things for that OS, then it makes sense.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
exactly, because then, they already have Skype, they already have Twitter, they already have Facebook, like,
That's what people want.
and then the other things that people are downloading are probably, from the App Store for the Android marketplace are probably games. And so
Yeah.
if they can make games that are PS games
and that
for
are
it,
way better than the
yeah,
Android
then
games.
I'm sure, and if they could probably figure out a way to make Words with Friends on there, which is the only other thing
then
that people...
that is all. That Alec
Exactly.
Baldwin will be happy.
Then you don't need anything else.
I was on an airplane yesterday, sorry, but this woman was playing Words with Friends on the bus on the way to the airport, and she ran right into an elderly gentleman.
Because she was playing on her phone?
playing it, and he goes,
That's me.
excuse me. And she literally said, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I had to get the next word in Words with Friends. I was like, this is a social problem.
D-bag.
I know.
Totally. That's how, like, when people are texting, it used to be texting and then they would fall down manholes. And so now it's like, Words with Friends. I got kicked off the airplane because I wouldn't turn off my phone. I fell into this old man.
I elbowed an old man in the face.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, the thing about a Vita phone... Porting the Vita OS onto phones that already exist makes you wonder why they didn't just, like what Steven said, make the Vita a phone to begin with.
Well,
but
the answer is Sony Ericsson.
they just
now they don't have to do what Ericsson says because now they
There
own it
are
all.
Ericssons.
and so they're not encumbered by the fact that I think that's why it was called the Xperia Play because they had all of this complicated stuff because it was two companies coming together to make phones.
Gotcha. So the PS Vita was a little bit too late because they just did the whole Sony Ericsson.
Yeah, and like
This.
PS Vita
They
was
did
being
this.
developed solely by Sony at a time when the Sony Ericsson was doing the phones. Now
Okay.
they don't have to worry about that, and now it's
So now
all
for their
merged.
next iteration,
Yeah.
gotcha. Because I mean, when you think about an iPod Touch, it's just an iPhone without the phone, right?
Yeah.
So basically, and it has everything else. It has FaceTime. It has whatever. So I can see why. So the PS Vita could be the PS Vita without a phone.
Yeah.
And then they could come out with the PS Vita with the phone.
Which
and
then
just,
makes the Vita only for people who don't need a phone, who are people who are below the age of 7. And then why do they need a $250 device?
oh, it's more than that. It's like 300.
Oh, really?
Plus, yeah, it's like 350
Oh, I thought
once
it
you
was
buy all the.
250.
No, it's expensive because it's 300 just baseline, I think, and then maybe more if you get 3G, and then you have to buy a proprietary memory card, and then the game and whatever. It's like
yeah,
it's
that's a
like
big
$500 by the
Oh,
time
yeah,
you
that's
walk
what
out the door.
Bacalar hated
Yeah,
about
Bacalar
it. Yeah.
was really mad about the memory card.
Yeah, exactly. That it was all proprietary. And then, so anyway, on the heels of this story, there was a really quick other rumor about, I don't even think we need to bet on this, about HTC getting Sony branded games on its phone, which would then defeat the whole purpose of a Sony phone.
If having the Vita.
Yeah, of having a Vita phone. So you would have an HTC phone playing Sony branded games. Granted, it probably won't have the thumbsticks and it'll be
Yeah.
touchscreen, and the Vita is a little bit better for that kind of gaming.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just don't even get it. Remember when Sony just made Walkmans?
Well, I think
That
this
was
is.
it.
I really think this is. If this were true, this would be Sony's way of dealing with the fact that it's all going in the smartphone sphere, and they have so far not been successful with it, which is why they got rid of their. Why they bought Sony Ericsson. Why they're trying to revamp their whole approach to smartphones.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, they're not going to make another handheld gaming device. This is the last one.
Right, this is it. And it's just interesting to think, like, would a PS Vita phone make the PS Vita redundant? Like, why not just spend another couple hundred, and make it a phone?
I guess you don't have to have a contract.
Right, that's true.
There are a lot of
that's
reasons,
very true,
maybe.
and there's some reasons, and I get that they're trying to make a unified experience. Like then you would need, but then if you have a Sony computer, Sony TV, the Sony PlayStation, and the Sony Vita, and maybe the Sony Vita phone,
And then I want a Sony microwave, please.
yeah, and then you have everything, but then they all need to be running the Sony Vita OS, so to make it a true unified experience, like how Microsoft is doing it. Maybe they don't have their own necessarily hardware, like Microsoft is running on whatever computer, but the OS is the same, and that's the important part.
Well, we'll get back to this when we talk later after the break about the Chrome OS and the Android OS maybe being ported over to something. That's going to be one of our next rumors.
All right, so
that's going to be this rumor coming up right now.
So I have to set the duck timer, but maybe we should vote on the. Let's vote. I'm going to write in our little notes that we should also vote on whether HTC will be the first to get Sony branded.
Yeah, that's a good
OS.
PS
Great.
games. Let me set the duck timer because we are really trying to keep on schedule today. I'm so proud of us. Usually we just talk and talk.
Okay, so this next rumor
Wait.
is. Well, can I just say the name of it while you are setting that up?
Yes.
The next rumor is that Android 5.0 Jelly Bean may be launching in Q2 of this year.
Ready? Go.
Who cares? So none other than Digitimes, of course,
Our
is
friends.
reporting that Google may be ready to release Android 5.0, which is kind of ridiculous since none of you have even had a chance to taste Android 4.0 ice cream sandwich unless you're like Justin Eckhouse and you bought yourself a Samsung Galaxy Nexus already. But basically, ice cream sandwich is not out there yet. And now they're already saying Jelly Bean will be the next one. And if you guys are following, Google names their OSs, their versions of Android, after desserts, and then they follow along the alphabet. So because we had ice cream sandwich right now, they think that J is next. And so a J dessert or sweet or candy is Jelly Bean. Taiwanese-based Digitimes says that it spoke to people in the supply chain who claim that Google is planning to launch 5.0 at some point in the second quarter and that it will be optimized for tablets, which makes sense because all the operating systems are now sort of being optimized for tablets. And then it'll be this like cross-pollination. Everything will be using the same thing. But this is the interesting part of this rumor. Not the Jelly Bean is going to launch, because obviously it's going to launch. But the rumor says that the vendors who are working on this claim that you will be able to port Android 5.0 over to Windows 8 based tablets, phones, and notebooks. So you can buy a Dell running Windows 8, and then you can, without having to reboot, without having to do anything, you can just, bam, snap it into being an Android OS, which is a little bit confusing because Google has the Chrome OS, which is for notebooks. They don't have, the Android OS is not for computers. It is mobile.
Right.
It is solely mobile. So it's kind of a strange rumor, although I want to say that I think it has a little bit of credibility because nobody likes the Android OS. And even though the Chrome OS.
The Chrome OS,
and
yeah.
even though they're coming out with new Chromebooks, everyone's like, who cares? That already
Chromebooks
failed.
are like,
give it up.
Remember Google TV? Chromebooks are like the next Google TV.
I know, and then they're like the next Google Wallet. And Google, like, you have some issues. These ones are not good.
Yeah,
and
like people don't like some of your things.
No, and I think this... Okay.
That's okay. Keep talking about it. We have
that
time.
Might be,
we have so much
that
time.
might be one of the reasons why they actually would let you port Android over to your notebook and your tablet, because maybe they're going to give up on the Chrome OS. So that would be the second part of this rumor. If that part of the rumor is true, I think it would mean Chrome OS is going to go the way of the dodo bird, and Android 5.0 is going to be the like unified system that we were just talking about that would be across not just mobile but also computers.
So and not just Google computers,
not just Google, because Android already runs on HTC. Blah,
so
blah,
then
blah,
you
blah,
could
blah.
have OS X for Apple, you could have Android for whatever, and then you can have Microsoft for whatever.
Well, yeah, and what this is saying, what's weird about it is it's saying you don't have to buy a computer, you don't have to buy an HP computer like I have in front of me that's running Android. You can buy a Windows computer at Best Buy, and then if you want it to run Android, you can just put Android 5.0 on it.
I see.
I'm sure that the truth, that would not be true of an Apple computer,
Right.
but that's what they're saying, that if you bought a Windows 8 based laptop, you could turn it into an Android laptop.
Why would you want an Android laptop?
I'm not sure. I guess if you're
Then
someone...
you could play Words with Friends on your big laptop.
Yeah. Well, and then what you would do, like, this is why I think it's so stupid. Then you'd be someone who has computer that's suffering from the same fragmentation that my stupid Android phone is, because my phone is so old that it isn't even running Gingerbread, because they push out the Android updates at so many different times that people are walking around with so many different versions of Android that I spoke to an app developer the other day who literally had like bags under his eyes when I asked him if his awesome app was available for Android, and he was like, we've been trying to get it available for
because
Android.
there's like 75 different versions of Android, plus all the skins, plus everything that they have to deal with.
I think we might be able to get it available for Gingerbread. I'm not sure if we'll have the time to get it available
and
for
he
anything
doesn't
else.
even care anymore.
And then he was like, and actually at this point I might give up and just have it be only an iOS app.
Because iOS is so
Because it's so easy and confined. Yeah. But this is the one thing I want to say, since we have like 1 minute left and then I'll be done.
We have 5.
Oh, okay.
Our next segment doesn't happen for another 5 minutes.
Can we start it early?
Sure.
Well, no, because she's not going to be here.
Okay. Well, we can take our break and she come in at 30.
Gotcha.
Okay. But what I want to say really fast is that the thing that I really think is stupid about this, Google, but beyond the fact that whatever, maybe you have the right idea that you should get rid of Chrome OS, maybe you should put Android on computers, whatever. Stop naming your Android versions after desserts. I know you think it's cute. I know your engineers think it's cute. I know you guys in the office think it's adorable and hilarious, but I have to say, I write headlines for a website. It's called CNET.com. When you go to CNET.com, those headlines, I wrote them. And when you make me write a headline about ice cream sandwich, listen to how stupid this sounds. Guys, people, your Android phone can finally get an ice cream sandwich. What?
Yeah,
people don't know
delicious.
what I'm talking about. They have no idea what the story is about. And beyond that, even people who do know what ice cream sandwich is, the worst part is that it's so long. It's so many characters in that name that I can't fit any other words in, because you know how the internet works, Google? You're kind of confined to like characters and HTML on a site. And so when you name something ice cream sandwich, you leave me, this is why I wrote the headline, Samsung Galaxy Nexus ice cream sandwich guinea pig, which made it onto Reddit as one of the dumbest headlines they'd ever heard.
Right. And what's funny is when we read it, and I read over that, and I was like, that is brilliant. Emily, you are a genius with this headline. And we all like clapped.
We had champagne.
We said, surprise, and how brilliant
we got
you
to
are.
work the next day, and it was on Reddit as headlines from the future. What does this
and
mean?
then people were like making images of what a Google ice cream sandwich guinea pig would look like. It was so
and
funny.
Jelly Bean is just as bad. Jelly Bean has just as many long characters. It's just as dumb. I mean, I've decided I'm boycotting your nicknames. I'm just calling it Android 5.0.
But you know what I was just thinking while you were saying that is like, I don't even know what version. I know that my iPhone is running iOS 5, right? Or 4, whatever it is. I have 5.
Yeah, you have 5.
So I know that, but like, what iteration, like I don't quite get, is ice cream sandwich 4, Android 4? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you almost don't, it takes you a second to know like, oh, and then gingerbread is 5. Wait, jelly bean is 6. 5.
Yeah.
3?
No,
like,
gingerbread is 3.
Right. So it's like you don't even know. So if you were to write a headline, Android 5.0 is coming, like nobody would know what that is. But if you said Android Jelly Bean, then people would be like, oh wow, Android the next one.
But see, I'm now going to take the exact opposite tactic, and I'm going to go by the numbers, and I'm going to hope that our readers can make that adjustment, because the words are too hard to deal with. And someone in the chat room was saying, Emily, can't you just write Android ICS, short for ice cream sandwich? And I do that, but people don't know what ICS is.
Yeah, it's not searchable. Like, what does that do for SEO? And stuff?
It's terrible.
Right?
It's so terrible.
Right. Yeah,
and
so
then
you
when
have
people who are like coming to CNET.com to buy a printer, but then they see an Android story that they might otherwise have thought was interesting, but when they see Android ICS finally available, they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah, and then exactly, and then even with ice cream sandwich,
the
they're
next
kind
one's
of
gonna
like
be JB, Android JB. Come on.
Justin Bieber, Android Justin Bieber. I got a Justin
Let's
Bieber.
call it that instead.
I got a Justin Bieber toothbrush.
You would.
From my
Is it
in-law.
electric?
You press a button and it sings one of 2 songs while you brush, and then
Oh
it's like exactly
my-
2 minutes, and that's how you know how long you're supposed to brush.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's pretty genius.
That sounds like the most annoying thing in my life.
I'm gonna bring it. That's gonna be your humiliation. You have to use that in public. To brush your teeth in public.
I couldn't even sing a Justin Bieber song for you right now. I can't think of a single. I don't know.
Baby, I will never say never.
Oh, you
That's a
guys
good one.
really know
it. Baby. Oh,
Okay, I guess I've heard that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so shall we take our break? And when we come back from the break, we are going to have our very first guest in the podcast room of Rumor Has It. And we're going to talk about some great other rumors. So stay tuned.
Stick around.
She's out there right now.
All right, welcome back from the break. We had the rumor board fell on Emily.
You almost lost me, guys. You almost never saw me again.
That's why that took so long, because she now has a concussion. So if she
fell on my funny bone.
if she falls asleep during the thing, we'll have to wake her up to make sure that she's still breathing. Anyway,
it was scarier for you guys. For me, it wasn't scary at all because that thing weighs as much as air.
Yeah. So.
But we have our very first guest. We would like to welcome onto our show, Madison DeTouris.
Madison,
Hello.
thank you so much for joining us.
Madison is joining us to talk about something that is very dear and near to her heart. And I'm going to give you a little rundown about it, and then we are going to interview her about it because I know almost nothing, and she is here to enlighten us. What this is a rumor about the Canon 5D Mark III.
Yes.
Oops, I said Mark II.
You said Mark II, but whatever.
Oops.
May it finally be coming after years of waiting and delay? Yes. People are very excited about this camera because it is going to be the update to the Canon 5D Mark II, which is and remains at this moment the best DSLR you can buy, and it has the best video. It's video so good, in fact, that Hollywood has taken note of it and has shot some TV shows and movies with it, including a movie that's coming out next week that's called Act of Valor.
Ooh.
They shot that entirely
Wow.
using the
Really?
Mark II.
Interesting.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
I learned that on Wikipedia, ladies.
Oh, did you? It must
Yes.
be
Wow, you
accurate.
just
Oh
did
my
some
goodness.
interesting hardcore
and
research.
then I verified it on imdb.com.
Oh, okay.
Have you guys heard of that?
Using the internet
Yeah.
for everything since 1985.
Since 2005. So I am not a photographer, and I really can't tell you exactly what is the most amazing thing about this camera. But what I can tell you is that a man who's very obsessed with it was on safari recently in Kenya, and while he was there taking pictures of lions and zebras and tigers and bears, I don't think there were any bears.
I know. We had to. We had to.
Exactly.
Okay.
I actually think there were no bears there. I'm sorry. There were only
my.
zebras.
Either way.
He saw that this man from Japan next to him had this camera that looked suspiciously like an update to the Canon 5D Mark II.
Yes.
And he asked him all these questions about it, and the man said, yes, in fact, I actually work for Canon.
Oh,
Yes, he verified
leaked it
that he worked
himself.
for Canon. He didn't say what it was because there's another camera that people are excited about, the 7D.
Right. Oh, there's what is it? Well, there's a few little ideas right now which are kind of confusing me, to be honest, because it's like how the 4S came out instead of the 5. So
Yeah.
who knows? They're saying, oh, maybe it's going to be the Mark III, but they could surprise us and be like, it's going to be the
EOS
3S.
7D.
Yeah, the Mark. Yeah,
The Mark
exactly.
3S. Oh, great.
But then there were people who were saying that this one, the one that we have these pictures of from Kenya, doesn't look like the 7D because it's bigger and it has the
Okay.
buttons, something.
This is the photograph, right?
Yes,
That's
that's
the
it.
photograph
Yes.
of the
Yeah,
camera.
like
Yeah.
the guy should have been shooting
love
at that
this
moment
photo.
a lion, and instead he turned it onto the man next to him and was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, that's so much bigger. That's
And
a
you know
better
what?
story."
Exactly. The whole photography community probably rose up and was like, that is what he should have shot anyway.
Yeah,
because that's what
yes.
any photographer that shoots Canon would have shot
Right,
anyway.
they're
Forget
more
the zebra.
excited about that than the
Exactly.
zebra.
Yeah, you can always go see a zebra.
Yeah, you can see a zebra. Go to the zoo, but you can't see the Mark III yet, and that's what we're really excited
So
about.
why don't you go ahead and tell us what is so exciting about the Mark III?
Okay, so of course it's all rumor at this point, and that's I think what the show is about.
Yes.
So it's all rumor, and so recently Nikon came out with the D800, which I believe will be revealed or they already announced it.
Yeah,
early
we had
this
a big
month.
story about it already.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And now it's going to come out in late March. So Canon is kind of, like my twin sister always was. She would kind of sit back and watch me and see if I fell. And then went ahead and sort of, made her move.
Yeah.
So they're kind of being the little like, okay, let's just see how this goes. So, Nikon has released their D800, or they've announced their D800 and all of its new fancy features, and that thing is going to pack a whopping 36 megapixels, which I doubt Canon 5D Mark III will ever reach.
Yeah, they're saying the rumor about the Canon D Mark III is that it'll only have 22 megapixels.
Right.
Isn't that a thing though? Isn't that like now lately I've learned like when I've been in the market for a camera that the megapixel
Yes.
like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
as
once you
much
get to a
anymore.
certain point, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's
Lori
like-
Grunen's always trying to tell
Right.
us that.
Yeah, like
Yes.
more about the sensor than anything.
Right. And the megapixels, I mean, once you get up there, it's like, really? I mean, are we really going to talk? I mean,
Right, like unless
Yeah.
you're blowing it up the size of like
Yes.
a billboard,
Right.
then 36 or 22,
Yeah.
it's basically the same
Right.
thing.
If you're shooting, if you're just a regular photographer who, let's say, does portraiture, I tend to shoot, so let's say kids. That sounds good. I tend to shoot like
I like to tend to shoot at kids.
children.
I like to shoot at them.
Exactly. So if you're doing that, unless their parents are really serious about blowing that thing up, it's not that big of a deal. So, I mean, the 36 megapixels, it looks good on Nikon's behalf. Let's be honest. They're saying,
Right.
oh, they're
People
posting
love to hear that
36
number, yeah.
megapixels.
Well,
Right.
now let's just go back, take it one step back, and talk about why we have you on the show to talk about this. Because I want to tell our viewers, Madison sits right behind me and Karyne.
Oh, yes.
And she is so adorable. And we're always chatting with her when we should be doing work. And the other day, I had on my computer a picture of a camera,
Yes.
and Madison saw it and was like, "Oh my God, is that the Canon Mark D 5D Mark III?"
and we're like,
And we're like, maybe.
what is that?
So I want you to first of all tell us what you do here at CNET or at Smart Planet, and then also tell us what type of photographer are you? What are you so interested in about
okay.
photography?
Okay,
so that
right.
we know, because I think the Canon 5D Mark III seems to me like it's for professionals. Like,
Yes.
but
okay,
but
right.
you might buy it. So
I see what you mean. Okay, so I work for ZDNet, Smart Planet, and Money Watch. Originally with BNet and Money Watch, but a few things have happened, and now I work for these 3 websites, and I deal with our bloggers basically. So photography for me is more of a hobby. I don't do photography here, and I don't work with Lori Grunin, who of course reviews all the cameras and everything like that. So so I'll start by saying that my job is not photography necessarily, though I do. Don't tell the tax man. Work on the side a little bit as a photographer here and there.
Don't worry,
it's safe with us and
I'm
the
sure
internet.
the tax man is not watching this show.
Are you sure?
I don't know that for a fact.
But we'll find out, won't we?
Yeah, when you get
So,
audited.
oh
I'll
God,
let you know. So
this is all conjecture.
So I tend to, I've always been interested in photography, but never quite made that leap to actually purchasing a real camera, like a real DSLR. I've always had the
Okay.
handhelds, and I've owned an iPhone before, and but it's not the same. So I decided, get a camera, stop sitting there watching other people with theirs, and actually go buy one and see what it's like. So, start with an entry level. So I started with entry level camera, and I'm still there, but I bought, which I brought today for
Oh,
show
yay,
and tell.
great.
Nice.
My lovely L series. So if you're not familiar with Canon, this little red ring means that it's L series, and it's the top level, and it's actually the kit lens to the Canon 5D Mark II, which is sort of rumored to be maybe the kit lens of the Mark III.
Well, that
as
would be
well.
wonderful, because then you don't have to buy another lens.
So you have an entry level camera with a really high end lens.
Exactly.
And so you're getting amazing shots no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah. And I've kind of been told that if I upgrade my body, it might not be that big of a deal, because I'm just looking to upgrade the body. This thing is a wonderful all around lens, and I can see why it is the kit lens to the 5D Mark II. But it's pretty wonderful. But if I'm looking to upgrade, I've been thinking, ooh, Mark II, that sounds good. And then when I heard about this Mark III, I thought,
Yeah.
that sounds good to drive down the price of Mark II.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
What are you shooting with now? I forget.
Right now, I'm just shooting a Rebel, basically.
Uh-huh.
So Rebel
That's
has
what I
two
have.
1922.
That's-
Oh,
Does
you
it,
do?
does it play video? Does it take video? I have the one below that doesn't take video. I should have
Closer.
I should
Okay.
have splurged and spent another couple $100 and got the video
Oh, is
shooting
that
one.
right?
But
I've never used video on mine.
Oh,
so if
interesting.
you were going to
Not
buy the
once.
Canon Mark II, is that because you would want to shoot video?
It's not, which is funny because Mark II came out and it really started to cater to video.
Yeah.
And everybody really picked up on it. It was their first full HD, and everybody got really excited. And of course, Hollywood got excited as
Yeah.
well, which was really exciting.
I think if you get it, you need to shoot videos, and you need to shoot videos of me and Karyne
Oh, I like this.
for our humiliation day.
Okay.
Don't
Just
you
like-
guys think?
she just
I
inserts.
gotta bring it back to us.
I like this.
Way
And you know what?
Way to
I'm in.
insert yourself
I'll
into
bring
her
it
life.
to work, and we will use it for
Emily
humiliation
is
day.
Shameless.
I like this. Yes, it's shameless, and I love it. So
Okay,
let's do it.
Let's talk about the fact that it might be coming
Yes.
next week,
Yes.
February 28th. So the rumors have been going crazy ever since this camera was spotted in Kenya, and they're saying that it's going to have 22 megapixels, 61 point AF. Does that mean aperture?
Autofocus.
Oh, thank you. Autofocus.
Oh shoot, we need to have
Bam.
a photo.
And 6.9 frames per second shooting burst speed.
Right.
Now, what people are saying now is that it is going to be coming out February 28th. Why do they think that? I don't know. Who are they? Who are their sources that they're citing? Nobody. We should drink to that.
Yeah.
They're all anonymous.
I like that.
Drink up.
I didn't bring my...
Oh, no.
They make mugs that look like
So
this.
funny that you say that because somebody in the chat room, when you held that up, they're like, "Oh, is that one of those
Photo
lens
Jojo.
mugs?" Yeah.
Yes. Photo Jojo makes them. And they're like, you can actually bring it with you and sort of...
That's
really
hysterical.
cool.
You're like, I am a geeky photographer and
know.
also a drunk.
And also,
Right. This is my flask.
I put Kahlua in my coffee in the morning.
But so this is really exciting. People are really excited, not just professionals, but also just enthusiasts who love to take pictures.
Right.
I hope that it does drive the price of this camera down for you.
Yes.
Of the Mark II, and then you can go to the guy down. CNET is right next door to a used camera store,
Yes.
and Madison will be able to go to Adolph's cameras. Most unfortunate name.
Gassers.
Adolf Gassers.
We love it
It
here.
is the worst name on the planet Earth, and you should change it. But she'll be able to march over to Adolph's and say, not in a German accent, Adolf, can I please have a deal on the Canon 5D Mark II? Por favor.
Right. Which I'm excited about.
I'm so excited for you. So we'll find out. We're going to take a bet after this if it's going to come on the 28th.
Yeah, and if so, we'll see you running around the office shooting.
Yeah.
Yes.
With something.
Every last
with
person.
And I tried to ask Lori Grunin this morning. I tried to sneak it in. Lori, do you think it's coming on the 28th?
Yes.
And Lori responded by saying, actually, her boss responded by saying, Lori is not on the phone. She is sick. And if she had the answer to that, Emily, she would never tell you because you have a rumor show.
Oh, that's
And I was
great.
like, oh,
We're leaking.
You know, I tried that with Lori Grunin 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't heard anything. Maybe she knows.
I think she maybe does know, and that's why she's not saying anything. This is
Because there's an NDA on it. And
Well,
she
she-
doesn't want to
Yeah.
ruin
Oh
her
my
contacts
gosh,
with
Because
Canon.
if she had no idea, she'd just be like, I have no idea, I haven't heard anything. But like the fact that the rumor is that it's coming next week,
Yes.
that's a pretty big deal.
Okay, Lori's being shady.
All right.
Totally.
Lori.
Shady McShaderman.
She's holding out.
All right, let's go to our next rumor, which is I don't know much about, but Karyne does.
All right. I don't even know much about it either. It's about the Xbox 720, which is the next version of the Xbox, right? Maybe.
That's so
Unless they
exciting.
call it the 360S, which we've seen that's what companies do now, is that they're going to get a touchscreen remote. So this story comes to us from our friends at CNET Asia. Thank you, CNET Asia, for providing
thanks
us
for
with yet
covering
another
this.
rumor. They write that that Xbox World magazine has recently published some rather bold claims about Microsoft's upcoming game console in its latest issues. Sources cited by the publication, of course, they're anonymous because nobody knows anything because this thing.
Oh, so
nobody
we should drink to that. I'll drink to
Yeah,
it.
please drink to that. I don't have time. Sources cited by the publication said that the Xbox 720 will support a souped-up controller, which touts an HD touchscreen. Now, it's going to be this big. So it's going to be HD in a touchscreen this big, right? Because the controller can't be.
It's going to look nothing like this, right? This is
Yeah,
just a
well,
mock-up.
That
That's
thing
just a
looks
mock-up.
ridiculous. That
And-
looks like it belongs to Batman's child.
It looks like it could be possible.
It looks
Yes.
like one of those things that are just like standalone games that you buy at Toys R Us and they just have all the games in them
Yes,
already.
yeah, and it costs $29.99. And
Yeah.
if your kid slobbers on it and eats it, it's not a big deal.
Right, it's fine. So it'll have a
I imagine.
HD touchscreen. It'll have analog sticks and buttons. The design is pretty much similar to the Nintendo Wii U or whatever they
Yes.
decide to call it. That has a tablet controller. The Microsoft version is said to be the size. It's closer to the PS Vita. Today is all about gaming.
Great.
Today's
Gaming
show
and
is brought to you by
photography.
gaming. According
Give
to
us a sponsorship, gamers.
I know, please.
or not
Please,
gamers, I
Sony.
guess.
So, according to the Xbox World article, the touchscreen controller also doubles as a TV remote, a browser, and a panel for displaying software buttons and game information. Like, give me
Why
a
do I want
break.
to browse on my
Listen.
controller for this Xbox?
I don't know why you would need to. I mean, I guess, I don't know, because you can already browse on the screen through your Xbox. Why would you need to do it in your
Let's say mom comes in, she wants to watch her favorite show, and you don't want to stop playing your game, and you can sit there and play your
So you
game
can still,
while your
so
mom's
it's
watching
kind of a handheld game, but you have to stay
But
in
you
the
can also
room.
browse.
Well, and
like
if
the
mom
Wii
is
U.
watching TV and you don't like what she's watching, can you sit next to her
Yes.
because you're spending time and then go on Facebook
That's
because
what
it's a browser?
That's what the Wii U is supposed to be like too.
Yeah, and the Wii U, you're supposed to be able to continue your game on the controller.
Yeah.
So I get it, and it's touchscreen and whatever. But here's the thing about touchscreen. First, I'm over it. So let it be known,
Yes.
even though everything I own is a touchscreen. And
over it, too.
second, the controllers for me, I'm from the Nintendo days of, the original
yes.
Nintendo days of gaming, where the controller was this big. It had four
yes.
buttons on it and a D-pad.
Remember the original little Nintendo?
And so now the controllers have
so
gotten so
easy.
complicated. They have 2 trigger buttons up here and up here, 2 analog sticks, 4 buttons here, a pause and a whatever. There's so many buttons that every time I have to do anything, I have to look down before I have memorized where the A button is because there's so many things going on. I still don't know where the RT button is. I can just imagine there's an RT button.
I don't even know what the hell.
Yeah,
an
it's a
RT
trigger
button,
button, I guess. I don't know what it does.
Sorry.
But
What does that mean?
In
You lost me
Assassin's
on RT.
Creed, it allows you to climb up a wall. Let's say. So
I've seen that. I've watched
or
that.
in like Madden, it makes you do different, you know what I mean? It does things.
Okay.
It's another button that you need to use all the time. Now, if you had a touch screen, also, I would look down, all I would do would die. I would just die all day long. Like,
Yes.
what's the point? I'd be looking for looking for my stylus, looking on a browser, and my game would
But
be
this
over.
is for geniuses because this is like the story when Beethoven was playing the piano. And okay, I might get it wrong. It might not have been Beethoven, but I think that it was when Beethoven was playing the piano and Mozart was his teacher. And he was like, he was a child and he was like, da, 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 I'm playing this. He wrote some music and he gave it to his teacher to play. And Mozart said, this is impossible. This, what you have written, no one can play this. And Beethoven said, I can play it. And the music called for the 2 hands to be at this end, like this, da, 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 and then there was a note right in the middle, and his teacher said, no, it's impossible. And he said, I can do it. And he went like that.
With this
my.
And he used his nose.
Exactly. So that's what's going to
That's what the
happen.
touchscreen is for. Your
These
nose will be in
These
it.
games
Oh, wow.
are going to be so intense that I'm going to have to button mash with this hand, move this hand like this, and then put my face and move the guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the PS Vita has a touchscreen on the front and on the back, which allows you to do things. Yeah, it has. You didn't know that? Yeah.
You can use your
so
toes
dirty.
for it now.
It has a touchscreen
Okay,
on
it
the
wasn't
back.
Beethoven and Mozart, but it was Beethoven's teacher.
Yeah, I saw that movie Amadeus. I knew that it wasn't Beethoven.
Good.
Anyway, but it was a good try. The screen on the back does stuff. It changes the.
It's for augmented
scenery.
reality, right?
Exactly,
So you
for
can see
augmented
through it,
reality.
sort of.
Oh, that's
And
kind of cool.
there are some interesting applications. I know that when Jeff Bakalar reviewed it, he was like, I barely use this back touchscreen. It depends on the
Yeah.
game, of course. And I just think touchscreen gaming is so not precise for anything. So
and
that
it should stay in the mobile sphere. Like,
Yeah.
it's great for smartphones. That's what it's wonderful for. But don't port it over to hardcore gaming, which actually loves and uses buttons.
Right?
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
point.
true.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to yay or nay now that I have completely bastardized history and
Yeah,
changed everything
totally.
and all of that?
Absolutely. I'll read them. Ready?
Yay
Oh.
or nay?
Look, that's Mozart.
We think. Don't say anything about it
It is
anymore.
a harpsichord.
All right. Is HTC working on a streaming music service?
Yay.
I say nay. Is our big daddy company, CBS, producing a new show for Netflix?
Yes.
I say nay. You
I should have
say
said
yay.
nay. That was so stupid. Why
Too
did
late.
I say yay?
Here's the most boring rumor on the planet Earth. Will Google soon launch its own storage service called Google Drive? I say yay.
Ugh. Yay.
You say
Yeah,
ugh.
they're into everything.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
wait.
can say yay and be right with that.
Here's the real most boring rumor on Earth. Is Intel delaying the availability of Ivy Bridge processors until after June?
Yes.
I say
boring.
yay, too. Who cares? All right, so now let us continue. And thank you for our yay or nay section music. I love it.
Yeah, I love it,
I
too.
love
We
Yay.
are so proper. Yes, we are.
Okay, so now, oh boy,
Sorry.
this just got real fast.
Siento.
Okay.
Now, shall we go to our amazing voicemail?
No, let's actually vote on our real
alrighty.
bets.
Let's do that.
okay, here we
That's
go,
the
here we
most
go.
important
Okay,
part.
ready?
I didn't do this today. This is one thing I forgot to do this morning.
We have a graphic that usually pops up there.
Oh, well.
All right. Will
There it is, there it
the
is.
oh
Oh,
nice.
it's our Twitter profiles,
the
yo.
all right? Will the PlayStation Vita OS land on smartphones and tablets? Emily,
Sony phones and tablets.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I say no. And will HTC get PlayStation certification first? I say no.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is Android 5.0 Jelly Bean launching in Q2? I
Yes.
say no way. Are you serious?
I say that it's going to be announced. Ice Cream Sandwich launched a year ago. And we still don't have it on phones.
No, sorry, Jelly Bean.
I know.
Oh.
I know. I'm just saying, like, they are going to announce it. We won't get it.
Okay, so it's going to be, yes, they will announce. So that's not the bet. The bet is if it's going to come out in Q2.
But okay.
Yes?
I'll still say yes because I just don't know what we count as coming out. Like we said, Ice Cream Sandwich came out, but then it wasn't on anything.
This says Android 5.0 Jelly Bean launching in Q2.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Ready? Will the Canon 5D Mark III come out finally next week? Will
What do
we
you
make
think?
Madison's dreams come true?
Madison's saying
thinking?
yes.
Is it possible? Well, I mean, I'm
Madison says yes.
going to go with yes.
I'm also going to go with yes because those pictures look like they're pictures of an actual camera, and maybe they're of some other camera.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
Maybe that was a Nikon.
I want it to be that one for Madison's sake, and also because I think it's awesome that movies can be shot on it. Because I think that it's going to be really great and support the independent filmmakers of the
Yes.
world who only have to buy. I know it sounds expensive, but like a $5,000 camera, and then they can make a movie instead of having to get millions upon millions of dollars.
Right.
All right. And finally, will the Xbox 720 get a touchscreen remote?
H to the no.
H to the no.
I tried not to swear for you guys.
And I say yes. I say yes, it will.
oh wow.
Oh, it's on.
Wow.
It's on. I feel it.
Oh, we have a game. We have a game.
Oh my
Madison,
gosh.
thank you so much for joining us
welcome.
today as our
Seriously.
first
For having me.
in-studio guest.
I know.
I didn't know that. I guess I just didn't realize.
Well,
Yeah,
we had
sure.
guests when we were in Vegas, but never in this podcast room have we had a
Okay.
third,
Yeah, and
a fourth person to complete this circle.
Oh, I'm honored. Oh, in fact, so honored that I actually brought you each a gift. Now, what Emily and Karyne do not know is that CNET fishermen have been working overtime downstairs. They have no idea what I'm about to bring up.
Fisherman.
so
Oh no, is it baby photos? What is it? So CNET fishermen have been working overtime to bring you guys the first cans of your very own CNET Ratuna.
Oh my god.
So here you go.
Oh
You can each
my
make your own
God.
Ratuna casserole.
Ratuna
sandwich.
That's awesome.
Think those fishermen have been working hard.
That is
To
adorable.
bring you your very own CNET Ratuna. And I wanted
can't
you guys
even
to have your
believe it.
first cans of it.
This is amazing, and it's also going to be my lunch.
Oh,
I can't believe you're actually going to open this. We're going to have to...
I'll
open
save
it.
the top, and I'll put it, and then it'll be like art.
Okay, I'll save mine.
Oh my God! Thank you so
Thank
Enjoy
you
your
so much.
CNET
Thank you to
love
the
it.
thank you to the CNET fishermen for working so hard and
Yes.
working overtime to get us some Ratuna. Ratuna dees, please.
Please. This is so awesome.
That's
These,
the
please.
awesomest thing
Enjoy
I've
your
ever seen.
Ratuna.
Hey, this is our first physical gift that we've had. People
Yeah.
have sent us like pictures, and one of our fans once sent us some pears. But the people on the Crave podcast, Eric Franklin,
Stole it and ate
Ate
them.
them.
Ate them.
Oh,
Sorry, Carl.
oh. Well, I don't think you have to worry about that with tuna.
Yeah, well,
I feel like it's a little less of a threat.
That's not exactly as
I figured I'd
appealing.
go safe with that.
thank you so much. So, shall we do our voicemails after the show? And
Or we could just save them for next week.
yeah, let's save them. Guys, thank you so much for watching. We had so much fun. And next week, we're probably going to talk about, there's a rumor, I'm really excited about the potential that iTunes might actually get overhauled and become something that we
Please,
like and that
do it.
works. That would be great.
Yes.
And maybe the iPhone 5 is going to launch in the fall.
I mean,
not
every
in the
day it's like a
spring.
different
And
rumor. I can't even
maybe
keep
some
up
people,
anymore.
I'm not even going to say anything about the next Apple tablet because someone in the chat room said that I would, and I'm going to prove them wrong and say that I'm not even going to say the name of that
Don't say it.
upcoming
I was
tablet.
almost gonna say it.
But
don't say it.
seriously, you should watch next week's show. And thank you so much for watching. We had a great time. And
Thank
thanks
you
to
for our
Madison.
Ratuna.
Thank you.
Follow everybody on Twitter. Have a wonderful week. And thanks a lot. See you guys
next
later.
week.